Hey guys, what's up? Commando here. Welcome to my The Walking Dead Season 2 review and predictions for Season 3. So, if you haven't seen any of the Walking Dead game, I'd recommend not watching this because there's going to be lots of spoilers heading your way in a second. So, I'm just going to get straight to it. Just going to give my review of the Season 2. The main thing I'm going to be talking about is the ending of Episode 5, or the endings of Episode 5. There's 7 of them. But I want to talk about the whole series, and then just discuss my predictions or whatever. And feel free to tell me your thoughts on it, because I want to know what you're thinking. Anyway, season 2, episode 1 started off quite badly, to be honest. I mean, it was not like bad as in it was terrible, but like it started off with Omid getting killed by that stupid rat in the toilets area thing. It was kind of weird how Clem and that didn't go in the same one, to be honest. I mean, Omid went in the ladies one with, or the male one with Krista, so I don't know why they didn't all just go in the same one. But it started off with that, Omid got killed. Then you end up skipping 60 months, which I think is a stupid thing to do, and Krista obviously lost her baby and all this. We don't get to see that, which sucks. Especially like the in between the season, we don't get to see how Clem met up with Krista and Omid. I think all that, I want to see all that stuff. I don't want to see stuff getting like missed out. Because there's no, I mean, 60 months. Something must happen in those 60 months. Not so much like there was a point where there was like 5 days later or something, and during one of the episodes, obviously there's not going to be much happening then. I understand that, but like 60 months. Something's clearly going to happen that we need to see. Krista lost her baby, obviously, but we don't get to see that, and Clem doesn't even mention it. Like later on, I think it's episode 3 or 4, when they're talking about what's her name, the chick that was pregnant. They were talking about her baby, Jane, and Clem was talking to, I can't remember her name, but they were talking about her. But Clem never mentioned anything about what happened with Krista, which I thought was kind of shitty, to be honest. But then after that, after the toilets thing, like you see Krista and that together, and then she like looks for wood or something. Then they get attacked by these guys. Clem, you have the choice to like throw something or not. I threw it, and Clem's got an awesome shot. Obviously, it's Clem. She's a beast. It hits some boy in the eye, and then you like give a little chase, and then she ends up in the river. Then she's on her own. You never see Krista again. There was like a gunshot, but I don't know. I think she'll still be alive, just like Lily and the other people that we've seen, like Molly and stuff. I think all of them will still be alive. Mike and Arvo probably, and Bonnie. But I think she can actually die in episode 5. Like I was watching, like she can fall in the ice, but then she comes out again. But I think she can stay in the ice and die. So I don't know. She'll probably be one of the people that will die, but in season 3. But the next part, like there's like you meet this dog, and at first he's a friendly little guy, and then he gets really aggressive when you try to feed him some beans, tries to steal a lot, and then he like tries to eat you. Eventually you kick him off, throw him into the spike things, which is pretty brutal. I put him out of his misery. Like you don't want to leave him there to fucking in pain. I was like, night guy. But then after that you sort of like groggy and what have you, and you sort of fade out a little bit, and then you get picked up by Nick and Pete in a pretty funny moment, but kind of a, I don't know, funny is probably the word. Nick, or not Nick, Luke, he like is walking along with Clem in his arms, and then he like drops her when he sees that she's bit. It was pretty funny. And eventually you end up getting locked in the shed when the other guys, they all see, and like they're not sure if you've been bit by a walker or that. And when you end up in the shed, you end up eventually. I'm basically just giving a review, recap of everything that's happened, but I'm gonna give my thoughts on it at the end. You end up getting locked in the shed, then you got to get out, get into the house, get all the stuff to fix up your arm, and then get outside again, back into the shed and fix it up, which is pretty brutal, really brutal to fix up her arm. and then eventually like a zombie gets in the hole that she created, and you have to kill it. I had so many attempts at that, it was ridiculous. I struggled with it. And then the most badass moment of this episode definitely is you get a choice once you've killed the thing to say still not bitten. It's just such a badass moment for Clem, it really was. And eventually they let you in and sort of fix you up. And then in the end you end up like supposed to go fishing with Pete and Nick, and it eventually ends with either Pete gets like bit. You can go with him, and I think you end up in some truck thing, but eventually he just, in the next episode, he ends up, you find him like just like his blood and guts everywhere, and he's dead. Or if you go with Nick, which I didn't want to do, I wanted to go with Pete, but I couldn't really see what was happening. But I ended up with Nick, and he like gets what happens again? Like, oh yeah, you also pick up your backpack and stuff at this area when you see, like, you meet the guys that attacked you, but you don't know, like, you can ask about Krista, but you'd never get an answer about her. But then it just ends with when you choose Nick, and Nick's sort of angry that you didn't go for Pete or whatever. But then it just ends there. I can't really remember. But episode 1, it was okay. I don't know. It's the same for every one. I felt all of them lasted longer than they actually did. But it was a good episode. It was alright. I still have a feeling that the first season was better. I don't know. But that's episode 1. It was okay. I'm just gonna go through everything and just sort of share my thoughts on it. Feel free to share your thoughts. Anyways, episode 2. Like Nick's all sort of feeling sorry for himself in the like brewery type thing. I really don't know the word to describe it. But he's all feeling sorry for himself. Eventually, you run away. I don't think he comes with you. I haven't seen it. Like what happens if you run to him? I would just run away. But eventually you end up back at the house, and then they all go out looking for Nick. But Luke and they've already been out looking for you. So then more of them go out to look. So and then you end up it's just you and Sarah alone, and then like an intruder comes in, and it's Carver the bastard. Hate that guy. And he's sort of all being a ferret, you know, looking around the house and asking stupid questions. Eventually he leaves. I can't really remember what happens in the next bit. I'm just going off of what happened. I'm just going off of my titles here. I'm just sort of flicking through to see. Oh yeah, you end up at that bridge thing, and Clem's you know, using her binoculars to scout the area, and you find the lodge thing, the ski lodge, and like the little house and what have you. And then Nick, the Muppet, once Luke and Clem go over the bridge, Nick decides to shoot this guy that you meet, even though he never did anything. We all said no, but he still shoots. Ferret. The guy falls in the river, obviously dies. Well, I thought he would be dead. But then the next bit is like the best, maybe I would say the most heartwarming moment of the entire season. I don't know about the entire game. I don't know. Maybe the entire game, yeah. But you meet Kenny. Kenny was still alive. It was an awesome moment. I loved that moment. And you also meet Sarita and Walt, I think that was his name. That was an amazing moment. I actually heard that Kenny was back he returned in season 2, but I just didn't know when. It was an amazing moment. It was so cool. And then you're like in the house, the lodge thing, and you're like decorating the Christmas tree and just sort of speaking to everybody. Eventually, Walt finds your knife that you took of thingies. I wonder what happens if you don't take that. How does he find out then? I don't know. But like he finds out and he gets a little bit angry with Nick and what have you. But then, like the wind turbine's making loads of noise or something, and you have to shut it down. Well, Clem has to shut it down because none of the rest could, because they're suck and Clem's pro. And then eventually Carver and his ferrets come and like sort of shooting them all out. And that's Bonnie as well. She like came before and she's like wanting food or whatever. She was like faking it, and then they end up coming and like taking you captive. And Kenny sort of shoots some of the guys, but the more you shoot, and the more he kills. So Alvin can die, or he can stay alive, but he dies in the next one, I think. The next episode, episode 3 or 4. I think 3. And eventually ends with you just being held captive, and then and then that's it. That's where it ends. It was kind of a disappointing ending a little bit, but it was okay. It wasn't you know, bad or anything, but it was okay. And the next one, episode 3. Got through that one a bit quicker. Episode 3 starts off with you in the van thing, and Troy just being an absolute sicko. He's like, Clem and Sarah are out taking a piss, I guess, and he's like, "Oh, did everything come out all right, girls?" or something. It was just such a sick moment. Like, what a bastard. And then you go in the van, and like Kenny tries to escape, and they're all arguing and stuff. He's just, I think people say that he's kind of a liability a little bit. I think he's just really passionate about just trying to get safe and that. It's just maybe it doesn't go about it the right way, but I really like Kenny. He's a good guy. Good guy at heart. Maybe just has the wrong reactions at times. Maybe doesn't think about things sometimes. But I like Kenny. He's a cool guy. But eventually, yeah, in this warehouse type of thing, shop thing, and Sarah starts speaking while Carver's laying down the law or whatever, and she starts speaking, and Carver like tells Carlos to teach her some respect or manners or something. I can't remember the word, but he has to slap her anyway, and I wasn't expecting this kind of slap, like, but holy crap, he just took her down. He just was an amazing slap, like he just took her right down. And eventually you've got to do like some other stuff. You like have to go in the greenhouse, and Sarah's all acting like a ferret, too scared to do anything. You can either choose to do your own work or help her, and like no matter what happens, Carver comes in and he's upset and a little angry with Reggie, who's a really cool guy. Reggie's a really cool guy, and he total overreaction. He fucking shoves him off the roof and kills him. That's one thing I didn't like about the season. I think they killed too many people. Like, there's like nobody apart from Mike and Arvo are the only two guys that are definitely still alive, and but the other ones are probably not gonna live. But I'll talk about that near the episode 5. Eventually you like have to think of a plan and whatever to like get out. Like you reunite with Luke because he got lost in the episode 2. You like work out a plan, try to do it. Clem has to get the radios and stuff. You come back. I think he just like finds you or something, and Kenny like Clem is a way to hand it over, but then Kenny takes it and gives it to him. And then Carver just goes absolutely wild and beats the crap out of Kenny's eye. It was total, just again another overreaction by the retard. Fucking damn near kills Kenny. And eventually you like get after that you like get your revenge. Like like Bonnie's had enough of Carver's crap, and she's gonna help you get out, and you get your revenge on him by Kenny just beats the shit out of him with a crowbar. You can stay and watch it, or you can leave. I've seen it when you leave. It's kind of shitty. You want to stay and see that. You want to see the guy get his just desserts, I think is the word. It was pretty brutal, but it was good to see. It was good to see him getting wrecked. And then eventually, Sarita, when you're all trying to escape through the stuff with all the guts over you, Sarita gets bit. You can either chop the head of the guy, or of the walker, or you can chop her arm off. I chopped her arm off. I was trying to save her. Doesn't quite work. I can't even remember what happens to her, to be honest. If that happens, I think she just screams and then she just screams and then I think she just gets wrecked by the walkers. But if you don't scream, like in the next episode, in episode 4, I think she comes with you, and Kenny eventually. Kenny is just with. I've been watching somebody that's doing it. I'm sure she's just gonna turn. I think she'll just eventually just turn, and then Kenny will kill her or something. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'm in the process of watching somebody it's doing it that way. But when you first start with me, my one, Kenny's pissed that you chopped her arm off. I think you eventually, what was it? Oh yeah, Jane. You and Jane and who's the chick that's pregnant? What's her name again? I can't remember her name, but yeah, Jane like chops this zombie's mouth off, and then like you walk behind it until you get to like safety or whatever. I just totally can't remember the pregnant chick's name. And eventually you get back to this memorial place. You find Mike and Bonnie, and Kenny's there too, and he's pissed with you, really pissed. And after that, we've got to go and find Nick and Luke and Sarah, which really doesn't end well, to be honest. You come across some zombies, walkers on the ground. Then when you try to get into this bit, you see Nick turned into a walker. You got to kill him, but Nick didn't really do much after his the first couple of episodes. To be honest, didn't do much. So yeah, it wasn't really like a sad moment, but it was a savage kill. That was the title of my video, savage kill. You're like slicing his brain and stuff. I'm watching it right now, just flicking through the video. But Sarah's like screaming and stuff, and the walkers are like trying to get into the caravan thing that they're at. You got to distract the walkers. I keep calling them zombies. You got to distract the walkers and get into the caravan to save Sarah, and she's like going crazy, to be quite honest. She's sitting there in the corner, not thinking. Eventually, you can leave her there, which I don't know what happens if you leave her. You get in, you can persuade her. Eventually, you slap her in the face, and then you get out with her. I don't know what happens if you don't do that. But you get out of there. What happens now? I'm flicking through. I thought somebody was going to die there. I thought Jane or somebody would die trying to help Sarah, but no, you all get out, surprisingly. Surprisingly, they let everyone live there. Eventually you get back to the thing, speak to Kenny. He's calmed down a little bit now. Then we find out the Thingy's going to have her baby. I don't know her name. I still don't know her name. I can't see her name. Tell me her name, because I've forgotten. But you go with Jane to this like thing, and you just have a look about. So it looks like a good place for Thingy to have the baby. And then somebody's coming, and it's Arvo. This is the bit that's so stupid, because he has these medical supplies for his sister, but yet he's chucking them in the bin, and it doesn't make sense. But then later on he's like complaining about it, that you stole his stuff. It just doesn't make sense. He's chucking them stuff in the bin. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Eventually we took it. We didn't even need all of it, to be honest. We could have just offered to take some of it, because we only needed a little bit for Thingy to have her baby. After that you end up back at the bitty with her and that, about to have her baby. Rebecca, that's her name. You eventually have to go up to the museum with Mike and Bonnie. It was pretty good up there. What happened again? Sarah's still sitting there like a muppet. I'm seeing it now. You end up in this thing. You find like a jacket thing for Rebecca to like lie on when she has her baby. It was something, I can't remember. Maybe somebody will have explained it by the time this goes up. But it was a jacket. It must have been something to do with because Rebecca's black or something. I don't know. I didn't get it. But like you got to find water and stuff, and you find a thing. It's got 2 things of water in it, and Clem tries to crawl in, and then a walker tries to grab her and kill her. But luckily Mike thingies the door down, and you get the water safe. I don't know how that goes if you don't go through the thing. Maybe Mike gets bit or something, I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think that happens. And you find like a raccoon, and you try to get it, but it's good that you don't, because you see that it has like 2 little baby raccoons, and they were just looking for some food. It's good that you didn't kill it. Then we deliver the baby. Well, there's like loads of walkers coming, and you have to run to the thing and get up there, get up the stairs and block it. Apparently, when the thing collapses, Sarah gets stuck. No matter what happens, Sarah dies, I think, but Jane gets up. Apparently she doesn't even try to save her or something. I pulled her up just because I was kind of sick of Sarah, to be quite honest. Then you eventually have to take the balcony down, and then Rebecca has her baby, and Kenny's sort of acting like the father a little bit. Oh, at one point Jane and Luke were like getting it on, like a steam pot of neck bones in the thing before everybody runs up here when the walkers were coming. Then eventually Jane leaves, Luke's all sad. And you think you head out for the... Oh yeah, you head out for the other side of the thing, I don't know. But it's all snowy and stuff, it's really cold. And eventually you get attacked by Arvo and his group of Russian ferrets. And I thought it was going to end badly once you got into episode 5, because everybody's shooting and stuff. And you also, Rebecca turns here right at the end. I shot her. That's what I did. I really don't know what happens if you call for help. Maybe the person I'm watching will do that, so I can see what happens. But that was episode 4 was pretty good. Episode 3 was quite good as well. It's quite action packed. I like it when it's more action packed. I prefer that. But episode 5, the shootout. I honestly thought loads of people was going to be dead here, but no. The only one that's dead is Rebecca. Luke gets shot, I think, when he runs out to get the thing. When he runs out to get the thing, the baby, AJ, Alvin Jr. But all of them die, but you keep Arvo. He leads you to the house thing. But oh no, Jane, she saves the day. Like there's one more to go, and then she like stabs him. That was a good moment. Jane came back. She came back for Clem. She liked Clem. But that's about it there. Then eventually you get to another bit where you take a break. You have to clean Kenny's eye. It was kind of a good moment. He sort of relaxed a little bit. Like he's really angry and then he's really nice at the same time. He's a good character. He really is. We'll talk about the ending in a little bit. But you get to this like transmitter thing, and you're all sort of bonding and having a good time, speaking and laughing and whatever. It was a really good moment. Everybody was having fun. They offer you to have a drink. I don't know, I haven't seen anybody Clem taking a drink. Not taking a drink, she's like 11 or something. No, that's not happening. And I don't drink either, so that's why I'm not letting Clem do it either. But yeah, they're just sort of more bonding and stuff there. Arvo gets a little bit pissed when you try to offer him a drink or something. Eventually you keep on walking. Kenny like gets attacked or something by a thingy out of nowhere. Clem shoots it, I think. Eventually you see the house. It's like some half-built sack of crap, but there's a load of ice in between it, and I knew it was going to end badly as soon as you seen the ice. But Luke falls in and then gets dragged down by the walker. There's no way he survived. Clem can fall in if you go to save him, but if you don't, then Bonnie falls in, and then you try to get her. And I think Clem falls in as no matter what, but Bonnie can get out again. But Bonnie is all pissed if you do nothing. But I didn't do that. I try to save him. But then you get inside and get the fire on because Clem will freeze to death, and they were all blaming Kenny. It was Arvo's fault. What the fuck? It was totally his fault. Everything was his fault. None of this would happen if it wasn't for him, but they were all blaming Kenny. It was bullshit. And then Kenny just beats the shit out of him. You can try to stop him, but he ends up like elbowing Clem in the face. But Arvo deserved it. The guy's a fucking little shit. Totally deserves it. And no matter what happens, if you steal the medical supplies or not, you get attacked. I forgot to say that. You get attacked no matter what. Eventually Kenny gets a truck, he gets it working, and they're trying to work out where to go with it. They all have different ideas. Eventually, it doesn't end well for Clem. She ends up getting shot by Mike, no, by Arvo, because Arvo, Mike, and Bonnie are trying to leave. It doesn't. What's happens again? I'm just flicking through here. Yeah, they shoot and then they just try to make a run for it, which kind of shocked me. They were like, Bonnie's like, run, run. Then Clem sort of had life flashes before her, and then you meet up with Lee again, like a dream flashback type of thing. I thought it was like, I thought it could have been Clem was dreaming, like with Lee, but she was having a dream of the season 2. What's happening in season 2? That's what I thought it could have been. They could have done that and just totally they could have went back and started again pretty much and maybe changed some stuff, but I think it was just her dreaming from season 2, dreaming about stuff that happened in season 1. But it was a pretty cool moment. When I heard that Lee came back, I mentioned this near the end or something, at the end of episode 5, that I actually seen somebody's title was Lee, and my mind was going wild that Lee somehow came back or something, which could have happened. You know, you could have just said that Clem actually didn't shoot him when she went to shoot. She could have like missed him or something, or he somehow could have survived. Very unlikely, but yeah, it was a pretty good moment. Eventually, Kenny and Jane, Clem and AJ are all in the truck driving, and eventually there's like a bunch of cars in the road, and they spin round. And eventually they have to run out and try and head for safety, I guess. But Kenny goes, and then like walkers and that come, so Jane goes, and then Clem goes, and eventually you head into this rest stop thing. Kenny's there, and then Jane comes in alone, and given the idea that the baby's died or she's killed the baby or something, because of what happens later on, I feel this is just such a stupid, pointless fight. Jane is, because of the other endings, Jane says she does this to prove a point to Kenny, but anybody would be pissed off if you killed a baby. No? I think so. And Kenny was justified for his reaction to finding out AJ was dead, but it eventually ends with you can either shoot Kenny, which is a pretty sad. I watched it. It was pretty sad. Like, but I looked away, and he kills Jane. And eventually you can either leave Kenny, which when I watched that, I'll have a link to all the endings. There's videos with all the endings. I cried at the one where you can leave Kenny. It was really sad. Or you can stay with Kenny and you go to Wellington, which is the 2 sad endings as well. Kenny decides to leave to either he says take Clem and AJ, but I'll go, and you can choose to either leave the place altogether, which is what I did. It was a pretty sad moment, or you can stay at Wellington, which when I watched that one's really sad too. But there's so many endings. I'll speak about them now. There's 7 endings in total, which is ridiculous. There's that too with Kenny at Wellington. There's the one where you leave Kenny after saving him, and you walk away, and you end up in like some farm, like a farm sort of field thing, and there's loads of walkers, and there's just Clem and AJ. She like kills this walker, or is a walker already killed? I can't remember. And she slices it open and covers themselves in guts, and then walks in, and then it ends. I think that's what happens if you go your own every single time, no matter if you kill Kenny or kill Jane. But if you shoot Kenny, then Jane reveals that I forgot to say, you find AJ again in the car, but Jane, if you save her, then she says that she's just trying to make a point, which is just so stupid. I didn't agree with that. I'm glad I didn't go with Jane. But eventually, if you choose Jane, then you can either stay with her or walk away. Walk away just leads to that same thing with the field thing. Or you stay with Jane, and you go to back to Carver's place house or something it's called. All the walkers are gone, but the place is sort of raided a little bit. There's still some food. There was food for AJ, some formula stuff, but then these three people come, like a little family, a guy and his wife and his son, and then you can another decision. You can either, which I doubt would have much effect on season 3, you can choose to let them in or let them tell them to bugger off. But if you let them in, like the guy says he's unarmed. I'm sure he says he's unarmed or something, but then he's got a gun in his back pocket. And it was quite a shit ending, to be honest. This is definitely the crap endings. Like the wife like hugs Jane and says thank you very much or whatever, and then the guy's just sort of looking around, and the little kid is like, nice hat, and Clem's like thanks, and that's how it ends. If you choose no, they like just walk away. And this, I think they like threaten them a little bit. They threaten Clem and that. I can't remember what's really said, but I'll have a link to all the endings. I definitely recommend watching them all. I did, and I cried at the one with Kenny, both the Kenny ones at Wellington, and the one where you walk away from Kenny. Oh, it's so sad. Like, but I think they're screwing themselves for. Oh my god, 30 minutes! Oh my god, I didn't expect to go this long. Sorry. Oh, fuck, 30 minutes I spoke about this, Jesus. But anyways, yeah, and I cried at the one with Kenny when you choose to walk away from him. It was really sad. But they're screwing themselves because now season 3, they have the thing where you can end up at Wellington, or you can end up walking away with Kenny, or you can end up being on your own, or you can end up back at house with Jane, with either that family or without that family. So I don't know. I really think they're screwing themselves for season 3 unless they make it to a point where if you let Kenny live, then he's going to die instantly, or if you let Jane live, then she's going to die instantly. Because if they let them live, then they're just making it harder for themselves for the next seasons and episodes. But I think they'll definitely die. If you let them live, they're going to die in the next episodes. But they can both die, and then Clem's on her own, because you can shoot Kenny when you look away, you can shoot him. But I think they're really screwing themselves for the next season because they're making it too hard with so much options. It really should have just been like a 1 or 2 type of thing, which I would have preferred, to be honest, either at house or Wellington with Kenny or whatever. But I do think they're screwing themselves for the next season, making it too hard. Excuse me. And I heard that it isn't going to be released until the end of 2015, which is ridiculous, because they've took on so many other projects like Game of Thrones, Tales from the Borderlands, Wolf Among Us, and I heard they're taking on more games, which is ridiculous, which means they're just going to have to be waiting longer and longer, which sucks, really does. Hopefully they don't release like 2 series at the same time, at least have like The Walking Dead released and then maybe Wolf Among Us or whatever. But it sucks, it really does suck that we're gonna have to wait that long for the next season. But I'm hoping they have like DLC. So I seen somebody with an idea, and I think it's a good idea too, that we could have like Kenny's escape or something, and you see him, how he escaped from like in the first season from Georgia or whatever it was called, I don't know. Or also maybe see something with Krista, what happened in the 16 months or whatever, stuff like that. Or maybe something like that just in between, you know, something different like 400 days, we see other people, maybe the people from the house, what happened to them after the whole Carvers thing, like when we left, I don't know. But feel free to share your thoughts. I really didn't expect to yap this long, it's just ridiculous. But I really love the Walking Dead game. It's amazing. It's definitely the best game I've ever played, without a doubt. The story is just amazing. But share your thoughts, what you're thinking, what you think your predictions for season 3 is. Some people are thinking that you get to play as Clem as a teenager and AJ as like a little boy, but then that would mean missing out on so much stuff, which I don't agree with. I want I want to see everything. I want to see as much as possible. Excuse me. But they're making it too hard for themselves with Kenny. Possible of Kenny being alive or not, Jane being alive or not. But the only people that are alive is Mike and Harvo, definitely. Bonnie, she might be alive or might not be, depending on what happens in your playthrough. Which sucks. I do think they killed off too many people in season 2. I really do. There was a lot of cool people that really shouldn't have died. Mainly Luke, I would say. Maybe Walt, he was a cool guy as well. But I know it's got to be done for entertainment purposes or whatever. But I do think they maybe killed off maybe just a little bit too many people. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. But like I said, I'll leave a link to all the endings. I definitely recommend watching it, just to see what all happens. But that's it. 35 minutes later, I'm done with my yapping about The Walking Dead. I love it. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. I'm hoping for a DLC, maybe beginning of the year, 2015. That would be good. But we'll see what happens. Tales of the Borderlands coming out, I think the end of this year, so I'll be doing that. I don't know if I'll do it on my PC or Xbox One, which I will be getting. Probably go Xbox One because I'll be getting that. It would just save switching back to Xbox 360 all the time, which I'm gonna have to do for The Walking Dead, unless they can do something where they can import the save from Xbox 360 to Xbox One. I don't know if that's possible. Probably not. But it would just mean I'm gonna have to switch back from Xbox One to Xbox 360 all the time for playing games and such. But we'll see what happens. Looking forward to the Tales of the Borderlands thing. I'm not a Borderlands. I've never played the games, but I'll get it because it's Telltale and it'll be awesome. But I think that's about it. This is about it, really. Just got Max Payne 3. Been playing it for a couple hours. It's really, really good. I'm enjoying it. I'm waiting to play maybe another hour or so. We'll see. That's like 6:20 at night. We'll see what happens. I'm recording this on the 7th of September, by the way, just to let you know. It'll go up right after episode 5. The ending of it, maybe like a day or two later. But yeah, share your thoughts on season 2, predictions for season 3. That's it. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, show that like button some love, and we'll see you for season 3. It should be a good one. Bye bye.